Korean women are starting to call it quits on traditional dating. Korean men, and even a bunch of foreigners, are getting caught up in a dating culture so intense it's practically a K-drama in real time. And trust me, the reasons behind this aren't just about looks or status. They're as wild and unexpected as a plot twist in your favorite series. This isn't merely about attraction, it's a full-on cultural revolution in how relationships are expected to work in Korea. Now, before you start picturing K-pop heartthrobs sweeping every woman off her feet, let's get real. It's much more complicated. It's not just that Korean men are finding it hard to impress. The whole dating scene is shifting. First off, there's this phenomenon where too many young folks are tired of the same old rules, and they're even ghosting the idea of dating altogether. Meet the NPO generation, people who say no to relationships, marriage, and yes, even the stereotypical romantic dinner. And if you think that's only a Korean thing, think again. Some foreign guys are also being sidelined by Korea's all-or-nothing romance approach. Cultural differences, language gaps, and insane expectations make dating here feel like auditioning for a role in a never-ending reality show. Let's break down what's really going on. Picture this. You're a foreigner landing in Seoul, expecting your K-drama charm to win hearts, but instead, you're hit with the full force of Korea's hyper-demanding dating scene. For starters, the work culture here is brutal. Long hours, high stress, and barely any me time mean romance is often the last thing on anyone's mind. It's like everyone's auditioning for the role of perfect employee rather than perfect partner. And if you think that's enough to drive anyone away, wait until you hear about the language barrier. Even if you're fluent in a few words of Korean, you'll soon find out that the real conversation starts when you struggle with nuances and awkward slang. You might think your no will do the trick, but if you can't keep up with the banter, your chances drop faster than a missed K-pop beat. Then there's the dating apps. Oh boy, dating apps in Korea are a whole different beast. You'd assume it's swipe, match, chat, and date, just like back home. But nope, here you're met with profiles that hide behind emojis, pseudonyms, or even random words that look like they were generated by a malfunctioning autocorrect. Half the time, you're not even sure if you're chatting with someone named Hana, or if that's just an abstract piece of art. And if you do manage to get a proper profile, be prepared. Many aren't even there for a relationship. Some just want to practice their English,
Excuse me.
or fill the void between endless work shifts. Others are simply testing the waters, without any intention of diving in for real. So you're matching, you're chatting, and you're thinking, this might actually work. Then suddenly you hear, I've always wanted to date a foreigner. Congratulations, you just met a global lover. Now don't get too excited. While it sounds glamorous, many of these global lovers are more in love with the idea of foreignness than with you specifically. And here's another twist. While you might think your rugged, slightly unkempt look gives you an edge, Korean beauty standards are as unforgiving as a no-makeup selfie in a glass house. No offense, but if your skincare routine isn't up to par, forget it. You might as well be auditioning for a role in a horror movie. A clean face isn't just preferred, it's practically a requirement. And don't even get me started on facial hair. That scruffy look might work in the West, but here, a smooth shave is seen as the mark of true maturity. So if you were banking on your bad boy beard to set you apart, think again. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, the language gap. If you can't speak Korean fluently, your dating pool shrinks faster than you can say kimchi. Imagine having a great conversation, only for it to turn into a stilted back and forth via Google Translate. At first, it might be cute, but soon the charm fades when your I love you sounds more like I lost my keys. It quickly becomes a cycle of awkward silences and misunderstood jokes. And speaking of jokes, let's be honest, no one's laughing when you accidentally mix up your honorifics. Trust me, mispronouncing
오빠, 언니.
isn't the smooth move you thought it was. At least it gives you an excuse to keep practicing, while your date wonders if you're just being adorably clueless. Next up, dating apps in Korea aren't just about swiping right. They're a maze of algorithms and strict verification systems that make you feel like you're applying for a loan rather than a love connection. One minute you're chatting with someone using an avatar that looks like a K-pop poster, and the next, you're questioning if you even know the right hashtags for your profile picture. It's a high-stakes game where every emoji counts, and if you choose the wrong one, you might as well be using hieroglyphics. And speaking of expectations, Korean dating comes with a heavy side of tradition. There's this unspoken pressure. Get into a relationship, meet the parents, and even plan a future together, often within days of your first date. It's like every coffee date is secretly a speed round for, will you be my spouse? Modern dating in Korea sometimes feels less like a romantic stroll and more like an episode of The Bachelor, minus the roses, plus a lot of side-eye from your future mother-in-law. All this pressure makes dating feel less spontaneous and more like a carefully choreographed performance. And just when you think you've got it all figured out, here comes the ultimate twist. The societal obsession with perfection, Korean beauty standards are legendary. A flawless complexion, the perfect outfit, a smile that could rival any K-pop star. It's a checklist that can make you feel like you're auditioning for a role in a commercial. If you don't meet every single criterion, your chances drop faster than a misfired dance move on Show Me the Money. And for foreigners, the pressure is even higher. You're expected to be exotic, but not too exotic. Just the right balance of interesting and integrated. It's a paradox. Be different, but also fit in perfectly. Good luck with that. So where does that leave us? In a country where even the simplest date might feel like an audition for a high-budget drama, dating in Korea has become a high-stakes game of cultural codes, strict routines, and an ever-watchful society. And while some might joke that all you need is the perfect playlist of K-pop hits to win someone over, the truth is much more complex. Between the long work hours, language barriers, algorithmic dating apps, and sky-high beauty standards, finding genuine connection can seem nearly impossible. But here's the kicker. It's not only about you fitting the mold, it's about whether the entire dating system in Korea even wants to play the game. A lot of people are so over the traditional dating script that they'd rather dodge it entirely. And when you mix in all those cultural quirks, it's clear that the dating scene here is undergoing a massive transformation. It's less about love and more about surviving in a world where every interaction is measured, analyzed, and rated like your favorite K-drama episode. I mean, even the idea of spontaneity is foreign when every date seems to come with a side of, are you sure you're ready for this? And let's be honest, if your idea of romance is based on perfectly timed hair flips and dramatic background music, you might be in for a rude awakening. Because here, the real romance is hidden behind layers of expectations, careful rehearsals, and sometimes even a mandatory profile verification process. So if you're a foreigner hoping to jump into this whirlwind, remember, you're not just trying to win a date, you're trying to decode a cultural phenomenon. It's like trying to learn an entirely new language overnight, except this one comes with intense makeup tutorials and group chats about the latest K-beauty trends. And if you ever feel discouraged, just think of it this way. At least every awkward moment is a potential viral meme waiting to happen. After all, who wouldn't want to be the star of their very own dating fails in Korea highlight reel? But here's the ultimate truth. Regardless of whether you're a native or a foreigner, the dating scene in Korea is evolving into something that might leave even the most die-hard romantic scratching their head. It's not just about finding love, it's about navigating a maze of expectations, trends, and cultural quirks that change as fast as the latest K-pop comeback. So, what's the takeaway? If you're ready to dive into a dating world that's as unpredictable as a live broadcast, then strap in, because dating in Korea isn't for the faint of heart. It's a journey full of unexpected turns, awkward moments, and more wait what than you can imagine. And if you manage to find someone who truly gets you, amid the chaos, the strict routines, and the relentless pursuit of perfection, well, congratulations. You've not only cracked the code, but you've also found a genuine connection in a world that often feels scripted by an overzealous director. But if you don't, maybe it's just another chapter in the epic saga of the NPO generation. Because at the end of the day, whether you're swiping through endless profiles or stuck in a translation loop, the real question remains, is true romance in Korea even worth all this hassle? Maybe the answer is hidden in a late-night bowl of ramen shared between two people who finally decided to break the rules, if only for a moment. So, before you pack your bags and book a flight thinking you're about to star in your very own K-drama romance, remember, dating in Korea is less about fairy tale endings and more about navigating a labyrinth of modern pressures, age-old traditions, and yes, unexpectedly hilarious cultural quirks.